to quote sort of Nassim Taleb around, the analogies he drew around financialization, the risk-taking, one of the most interesting observations he made was around the fact that things that have actually stood the test of time, like a table and a chair that we're sitting on, is probably going to last for the same amount of time in the future as well. There's very few innovations that you can bring into something that's already working, right? So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And discipline is something I see in that same light. People are trying to come up with new age models. Of course, the world needs to adapt, it needs to innovate. But a lot of those fundamental strands will not go away. And we've seen that pretty quickly in the whole, again, another boom bust cycle through the pandemic, where first the Zoom stock price was unaffordable and now it's probably lower than where it was pre-pandemic. That's just, for me, again, no reflection or comment on the stock itself, but it's just a reflection of how quickly humans can adapt once new information comes into an equation. So whilst the younger generation is talking about flexibility and working on their own, that obviously is imperative to new ideas. But rest assured, the same thought process was there in our predecessors and those before them, right? So none of that has changed. You have tools that enable you to get an output faster. So let's not take that for granted. But again, they're not going to replace human beings anytime soon, at least. And then with that comes the same benchmark where your output, or rather transparency or merit, should dictate who wins and loses, right? Again, that has not changed. So with those factors remaining static, people should just be mindful that, it is that discipline, that work ethic, the integrity that will set you apart in any field that you're trying to compete in, right? And if you're trying to cut corners, if you're obviously dishonest with the process, you will get weeded out sooner or later. That's just the nature of the process, right? I remember my entire investment banking career, which started in 2008, was obviously a journey that I, have my own perspective on, but it was always very telling to talk to my older MDs who remember the times where the only access to information on a company analysis was their physical annual report, and they would go through page by page, and whoever would come up with the latest insights would win the deal. And all that's happened, fast forward for them, was just that the same information is now available to everyone at the same time at a click of a button. So what's actually happening is the world is becoming a scarier place, I would argue, because there's more information, everybody has it. How will you differentiate yourself? So I think it's probably given us a higher set of problems to solve, which again, by definition, are more challenging. So I won't claim I have all the answers. So I guess still have a lot to learn. But again, without discipline, without persistence, without reading, exposure, challenging yourself outside your comfort zone, you will not survive or make a real difference in this world. So those, I think, fundamentals remain the same. So don't ignore your parents and the older generation. They might have seen things through a different lens, but the lens is very much the same.